Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. It is the beginning of a new week. We are in Monday, which means we're moving into a new theme. And this week's theme is instrumentals. This is the second time we're doing this week, doing this theme, and I always enjoy getting to return to it. Instrumentals are sort of my bread and butter. Lyrical analysis isn't exactly what I'm best at, so creating music without lyrics means that I can really dig into some of the thematic elements without worrying or wondering how close I am to the lyrical themes. Really lets me dig into the music itself. Alright, so today we have probably a fairly popular video. If I do say so myself, we're checking out some Dream Theater, Stream of Consciousness, live at Budokan. And yeah, we got an 11-minute Dream Theater epic ahead of us, so buckle up, grab a snack, let's dive in. So a very atmospheric 5 guitar riff. A rushing audience is clapping, not unusual. Yeah, nice emphasis on 5 there. Yeah, so we have a dragging end. We have to emphasize 1 and 3 here. 1, 3, 1. Yeah, I missed the 3 there. But yeah, so we have this rush at the beginning and sort of a drag at the end of this 5. It's interesting, we're only 1.5 minutes in. We've already heard quite a few variations on this idea. Interesting. Bass is just constantly adding bits of ornamentation. I think this is one of the first major melody changes. Shift to 4, bass presence has been amped up. And the bass continues that riff while the guitar solos. Killing it this whole time. Yeah. Yeah. A few of those offbeat hits really give this some nice little groove. Ramping up the intensity on it. Yeah, so I wonder if the bass is foreshadowing anything right right here. Or I guess that's the pianist. So we move to a 5/8. We got some shred going here. Yeah, nice little retardando there. Open up some space for the bass. Yeah, all 4 beats is heavily emphasized here, giving it this pounding chord drive. Playing around with some dotted notes there, getting around on some off beats on that keyboard. Yeah, so there's this constant idea of variation. We don't seem to be really revisiting many items for an idea of a theme, but we're definitely providing a lot of variation on ideas that are present. I really enjoy how the song has a lot of drive, has forward momentum, but doesn't really seem to have a destination. They're not really setting up any of their new ideas, and it leaves me sort of waiting to see what happens next. Okay, so we move back to this 5/4 idea. Yeah, revisiting the intro. Nice little bass run in this section. Maybe it was only that bar. Yeah, so the hi-hat is telling us we're in 6 now. Maybe not the hi-hat, one of the cymbals. Yeah, real beautiful arpeggiation there. And he's got sheet music. That's awesome. That's awesome. Finally, the bassist gets some spotlight and actually got a real nice line. Everybody's sort of calm at that moment, and the drummer's going crazy. Oh snap, is that like a, what's that, E-ink? Passive display? That's slick. They just don't quit. This is the exact opening line. Earlier I had mentioned that it was the first riff, but I was wrong. This was the first riff. So yeah, real cool stuff all around on that one. That's just Dream Theater though, right? I mean, they just, oh man, they do cool stuff. That's what Dream Theater does. So yeah, let's get on with this analysis. I'd say that the thematic idea here is pretty evident, unless they are being intentionally deceptive, and that there is something beneath the surface. The surface read, which I would say is a pretty good one, the song is called Stream of Consciousness, and the song is a very malleable, flowing idea of musical ideas. And I think that it's really cool that they injected so many ideas. As I was calling out what some of the sections kind of felt like and how things were working together compositionally, I was starting to piece things together. First of all, we have this constant idea of variation. I mentioned within the first 90 seconds, we had already seen 4 or 5 variations on that opening line, and that's sort of how thoughts are, aren't they? Stream of consciousness is basically allowing your thoughts to just flow. I'm sure there are uses for it outside of creativity. I think there's some psychological uses for it as well. But what I tend to use stream of consciousness for is writing, whether it's writing literature or writing music. Just let the ideas come out, and if it sounds great, excellent. If it doesn't, that's fine too. You can work on it later, but at least you're getting something done. You're getting a baseline, a foundation for things to work with. That tends to be what I think of when I think of stream of consciousness. Just letting your thoughts flow out. You can speak them, you can say them, you can write them, you can play them. You can do stream of consciousness with improv playing. But it's this idea of just letting your brain go. And so part of that is these constant little variations in thoughts. You might be on a topic and then slowly that topic changes into something else, and there wasn't any real clear delineation of when you changed topics or changed ideas or went from one mode to another. It's sort of this fluid transition, and we kind of see that idea here with these small variations. Especially, I think it was most prominent in the 5/4 section. The second half of the song kind of ditched this thematic thesis idea as far as the musical themes go and went for larger, broader jumps with their transitions. But the first 2 or 3 minutes, maybe, while we were still in that 5/4 mode, we saw multiple ideas come out of it that if you just play them on their own, they're sort of distinct. You can hear differences between them, but when you play them all back to back, and maybe you start with the simple 5/4, and then maybe the next time you play it, you turn the quarter notes into eighth notes, then maybe you add a double bass kick, and then maybe your bass line goes from playing the root notes to a bit of a walking bass line, and then your keyboardist starts playing a melody line over it, and now you're in a completely different section. Right? You've changed rhythmic ideas, you've changed harmonic ideas, you've changed chordal ideas, you've changed melodic ideas. It is a totally different section now, but it is very much also the section we started with. And this idea of a single concurrent idea slowly evolving over time is very, very much the idea of stream of consciousness turned musically. And I love that. I think it just lines up so cool. I also mentioned... I mentioned that the song seems to have direction, but no destination. And I think that's another key aspect of stream of consciousness, is that you have to allow yourself to continue letting your brain flow, right? There's always momentum. You're always going to the next word or the next note, or if you're painting, you're just letting your brush go, the next stroke, the next movement of your hands if you're sculpting or doing pottery. I mean, it's about just letting things happen. You can't let the song stop or slow down for a second, because it kind of goes against the idea of stream of consciousness. So there's this constant momentum, this constant drive to move forward, but there's no destination. It's not scripted in a sense. The song doesn't necessarily use chord progressions or foreshadowing, or well, not okay. It doesn't use chord progressions that indicate any sort of change in progression or change in movement, change in direction. It also doesn't utilize sorts of foreshadowing so that we can kind of see what's coming up next in one of the instruments. The bass went and did something new at one of the points. I was like, hey, is that a bit of foreshadowing? But that idea never cropped up again. So it was just another variation, not a foreshadow at all. So while, of course, the song itself is pre-written and practiced and recorded and then eventually played live, the idea of the song is that it could go anywhere. They sit in one spot for several minutes with minor variations. They make these huge leaps and end up in totally different sections. I would even say that there's a small lack of cohesion in the second half, which I already mentioned, abandons this idea of minute variation in favor of larger transitions. And that too can be a thing of stream of consciousness. If your brain wants to jump ship to a new topic, it just does. It doesn't necessarily need to ease its way in there. It doesn't need a segue. You're literally spewing out whatever ideas and thoughts are popping into your brain. So, yeah, the overarching idea of stream of consciousness seems to be fairly surface level, but works very well. They executed the idea phenomenally. I would even wager to say that the riff-based repetition works well within stream of consciousness conceptually, because if you're just letting yourself flow, you may not necessarily have a cohesive idea of where you want to go and how best to get there. You just kind of run in circles sometimes until you get to where you're going. And even that happens here a couple of times. These reactions are completely, well, not the reaction. The reactions are off the cuff, but the analyses are also off the cuff. They are not pre-written or predetermined, pre-scripted. I kind of come up with an idea while I'm listening and sort of lay out some key points that I want to utilize to run into the final idea. But there are definitely some videos where I feel I'm a bit cyclical, running in circles, saying the same things over and over, just to make sure that I've drilled it home enough that I can move on to the next section, or because I haven't really figured out the segue to move into the next section. Um, so yeah, yes, this idea of sort of running in circles, riff-based music, it works well demonstrating this idea of stream of consciousness. And then, like I said, the second half of the song is about these wild jumps into completely different tangents, and stream of consciousness as a concept works well with that as well. So, just on that surface level, thematically, this is phenomenal. I love it just on the artsy side of taking a mental concept and transforming it into a song that fits on more levels than, hey, this just sounds like someone spewing stuff. Like, no, there's a lot of little details in here that really bring it home and sell this idea of stream of consciousness rather than a jam band. We've had some jam songs on here where the songs sound a lot more stream of consciousness, they're a lot looser, they're a bit more off the cuff, or at least they appear to be more off the cuff. And this is not that. This still has a bit of structure to it, which, like I said, kind of leans itself into that stream of consciousness idea of a single person letting these ideas flow and sort of having a little bit of direction, but not really, a destination, having that drive or momentum. On the other side of the equation, though, we get the performance, we get the musicianship. The drummer kills it. Absolutely, every moment of this song, every 4 bars adding something new. I think that's the most impressive part. Yes, there's a lot of precision there. Yes, there's a lot of really interesting technical aspects with some fills and some weird time fills, doing some polymetric stuff. There's a lot of technical aspect that makes their drumming awesome. But it's also, to me, about the more personal embellishments, the ornamentations that they throw in. They could be playing a pretty solid rock drum beat, and then randomly on the 5th bar they throw a double kick in on 3, and it changes up the feel, and then that double kick is done a little bit more often in the next loop, and then it's added into the idea, into the entire idea, maybe every beat, and you get this nice gallop going. But it started as an ornamentation and slowly evolved into becoming a part of the pattern itself. But it's just little things like that. If you listen, you just get rid of the rest of the band. You just get the drummer playing this song, and I guarantee no 4-bar phrase will sound similar to the 4-bar phrase after it or before it, even though the main pattern will be identical. They probably have some sort of skeleton structure to their pattern that they're doing for this section of the song. The embellishments and ornamentation that they play around that skeleton changes constantly, every other bar, every 4 bars. They're just always adding little bits of nuance, and it goes so far to show their character as a drummer, putting their unique personality into their drumming style. And I just love it. It's phenomenal. It's very, I don't want to say flashy, but I suppose flashy could be, it's always drawing attention to it. The drums can never go into the background because they're always doing something new. My ears never let the drums fade away into sort of that metronome position, because every time I'm like, okay, I figured you out, oh no, they're throwing something new in. That's a symbol I haven't heard before this entire song. Why is it going there now? Everything else you're doing is the same. You can't really ignore the drummer at all. There's always something new that's going to go on. I can't say the same so much for the guitar, the bass, and the piano. They tend to stick within their riffs when they're riffing. The only time, there are a couple of bass lines, little like walking bass lines, but they seem to be so far and few between. It'll be like a 16-bar phrase, and the 16th bar will have a nice bass run to it, and then it's back to playing pedal tones or root notes. And it's, I don't know, man, it just feels like a drastic underutilization of the bassist. Because that bassist killed it. Those runs, sick. When we hit that 6/8 part, I loved the bass line that he took, sort of sort of like a melody line. I don't remember what the guitar was doing at the time. I want to say the guitar was soloing and the bass had this nice walking bass line under it. But yeah, that kind of stuff needed to be done throughout, if possible. I mean, I suppose it also could have added too much complexity to the song, but I don't know, man. Playing root quarter notes for the majority of this 11-minute song is just, it's a shame compared to what the bassist could do. I think that's my biggest gripe about the song. It might be my only gripe about the song, is that the bassist just had a lot of skill that didn't get a chance to get implemented. And I've talked before about letting a song be the song. You don't want to put your skills on showcase and have it overpower the point of the song. But this is stream of consciousness. Everybody should have been tearing it up most of the time, aside from the heavy riffing areas. And I just say that the bass riff should have been a little more complex than quarter notes. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't. Are we allowed to criticize Dream Theater? I don't care. I will do it. Needed more bass there. But yeah. Then the other two parts, the piano and the guitar, alternating between riffing and soloing, and ultimately I kind of enjoyed their solos. They were a bit heavy on the shred side. I guess we can say a piano shreds, just because I would say the piano is tearing it up. But I don't really have an actionable verb for that. Like, you can shred on a guitar, but can you tear into a piano? I'm just going to call it shredding. Both of them were shredding in their solos. Just really going to town. They had a couple of sections where they kind of dug into some nice longer notes, but overall they basically went into musical assault, I guess you could say. Just constant notes all the time, and it fits well within the theme of stream of consciousness. I would not change it at all. I think it fits fantastically within that idea. And I'd say this is one of the few times where shred is the way to go. Normally, I would say you need a bit of a mix. You need some good storytelling and a bit of showmanship, and just combine them both into really strong solos. But here, I'd say the shred works. Even if, for me personally, I think it's too much shred. I don't enjoy it on a casual listen. I wish they could have pulled it back in a few sections. I completely understand why it was done. It works perfectly with the theme, and I don't think the song would have been better if they had reined it in a bit. I think it's perfect how it is as far as the solos go. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Dream Theater's Stream of Consciousness. It is a phenomenal look at basically turning an idea, an exercise, a mental exercise, into a song and kind of personifying it sonically. Sonic personification. That's pretty cool. I like that phrase. Personification. No, that doesn't work. Anyways, I really enjoy it from that front. I don't know if it's something I would listen to all the time. It's an impressive song that I like critically, but casually, I don't know. It's missing something. But again, like I said, it's not anything that I would change. Whatever it's missing that would make it more listenable, more palatable to me, would detract from it being as artsy as it is. And that's what I see it as. It's a strong art piece, even if it's not a piece that I would listen to casually. And there's nothing wrong with that. We need more artsy music out there. We need things that are done for the intent of a specific goal, rather than something to jam to, or something that's going to get a lot of listens on Spotify or whatever. Songs that aim to bring an idea to music, or to capture a specific emotion. Anything that kind of, does that thing where it's not about the outside stuff. It's about making this specific idea. And I think these guys just nailed it with this. Fantastic. But those are just my thoughts. This is where you guys come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed this or not. Anything that bounced off of you. Or maybe this is just like completely your jam and you have this on repeat, and the Spotify listens on this are in the millions because of you alone. Let me know in the comments. Above that, you can head to the description box. There's a link in there for Linktree. And that is a really nifty place. It puts all of my stuff for critical reactions in a single menu. You don't have to deal with URLs or hyperlink text. It's just a nice box that says Twitter or Discord or Patreon, and you just click on it and it takes you where you want to go. I love that thing. It's amazing. When you're done with that, you can check out right above it, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC with another instrumental. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to. And have a fantastic morning or afternoon or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.